What's going on, guys? It's Tremaine here, the most disciplined day trader on YouTube. We're going to do a trade breakdown over this trade I took in the PM session. So let's get into it. On the daily chart here for NASDAQ, I have this fair value gap labeled as a breakaway gap. So daily BAG, that stands for daily breakaway gap high. And the reason why I'm titling this a breakaway gap is because we had a consolidation here. And my bias on the daily chart is bullish, looking for all-time highs. I'm not interested in predicting the top. So that first fair value gap here that leaves the consolidation, ideally, I want to see that stay open or at least the lower half. Okay, that's important. I want to see the lower half of this inefficiency stay open. And I'm including the volume imbalance because there is a small little separation in the bodies here. So that's why the low of my fair value gap is here and not the high of the wick. Targets, we were looking for a 23,400 as a draw. We hit that yesterday. Other three targets I'm looking at is new all-time highs, 23,500 and 23,600. Again, not interested in predicting the high in NASDAQ until the daily chart suggests otherwise. So let's look at this price action. Let's look at this daily breakaway gap in more detail. And remember, for bullishness, we want to see the lower half stay open. We don't want to see that traded to. We want to see the upper half support price. So now that we have that, 15-minute chart. For those in the Discord, I shared this in the weekly forecast over the weekend. We were all on the same page when it comes to this breaker. So I added the quadrants on the daily fair value gap. I have the upper quadrant, the midpoint, lower quadrant, and then the low. What PD array rests in the upper half of that daily breakaway gap? Because should NASDAQ want to trade down into that fair value gap, well, it's not trading down into some random level on the lower time frame. What can we find as far as support in this price action that rests in the upper half above consequent encroachment of the daily fair value gap? Well, on your 15-minute chart, we have a bullish breaker. We have a low, high, lower low that runs out the sell stops, trade higher. So this last up close candle here in between your two lows, that is your bullish breaker that rests in, this is important, that rests in the upper half of this daily fair value gap. Because the narrative is we're already expecting the lower half to stay open. Breaker in the upper half, draw it through. Bingo. We trade to midpoint of the fair value gap. We don't want to see much movement past that. Do we get a lot of movement past the lower half of the daily fair value gap? Nope. Higher. So zoomed in, still on the 15-minute chart. Okay, PM session and all our trade business is in this region here. So what I was looking at is this small fair value gap on a 15-minute chart. After we've already worked the 15-minute breaker, we've already worked midpoint of that daily breakaway gap. We worked the high of it here, trade higher, market structure shift above the high. That's how I see it. Fair value gap. 3 consecutive down close candles before the rotation higher. I'm looking at that opening price. You can see the bodies respected here. And again, watching the fair value gap coupled with the bullish order block. This long wick is what stopped me out on my first attempt. I did take 2 trades in the PM. Okay, this long wick stopped me out. And then I went back in on a re-entry. We'll look at that on the lower time frame. But the bodies, okay, telling you that it's respecting the order block, respecting the fair value gap. The wicks doing the damage. I just had to go in with a re-entry. No big deal. So now we are on a 1-minute chart. Here's that same 15-minute fair value gap. It's just shaded in a lighter color. We have the high of the daily breakaway gap. Now, this price action here is that long wick that you see here. 30-second chart zoomed in, a little bit more detail, but here's that opening price of the 15-minute bullish order block. Here's that fair value gap. My first long entry, okay, we're working that 15-minute fair value gap as we're trading down into these 2 down close candles. I'm buying it there. A little bit of displacement, rolls over. Okay, I'm seeing this all as manipulation, sell side taken. And I'm watching this and I'm saying, okay, I just got stopped out. I went long 4 contracts. On a 15-minute chart, I'm watching this wick form, and I'm watching us trade back higher, higher. So on a 30-second chart, once I start seeing the sell stops taken, and I have an eyeball here to remind me this is a key detail. When we traded down here and came for my stop, we failed to reach the high of that daily fair value gap, and then we're starting to run away. To me, this is a bullish signature. We've taken out sell side. I'm already looking for higher prices. We're inside a 15-minute bullish order block. And if we could get back inside of this 15-minute fair value gap, I see that as bullish. So the failure to reach that fair value gap high, to me, is bullish. So 30-second chart, I'm looking for a means to go long. We have this candlestick, the high of that wick. Next candle displaces above it. This candle opens, trades down. As soon as we touch the high of the wick, I'm using that as my market order. And notice how I go in long with 4 contracts here. Because I took a loss, I'm cutting my risk in half. So I'm not just going in right away with 4 contracts. Instead, I'm going in with 2, half risk. As the trade moves in my favor, now I'm adding the other 2 on inside of this inside of the 30-second fair value gap here, which is also inside of the 15-minute fair value gap. So I'm accumulating long positions in here. Fair value gap entry here. You can see the support of that 15-minute bullish order block rallies into the buy side. There's my exit. Now, a little bit more detail. All I did to the chart is we're still in a 30-second time frame. I'm taking this low all the way up to this high. And as we're trading up and as I'm looking for an entry, I'm taking this low to this high. I'm running a fib on that and I'm getting quadrants. So I have the lower quadrant here, midpoint, upper quadrant, and then the high. And all I'm doing is saying, okay, I want to buy in pyramid at or just beneath consequent encroachment of this implied dealing range. That's what you see here. Your best pyramid entries are at equilibrium or beneath. If you can get an entry in the lower quadrant, you're getting really good pricing. Okay, anything beneath equilibrium is ideal, but once we start approaching that upper quadrant, I'm no longer looking for pyramids. I'm no longer looking to add on to my position. At that point, I'm focused on trailing my stop and taking partial. So first entry, immediate rebalance, is near that lower quadrant, so that's a great buy. Second pyramid entry is in close proximity to equilibrium, that fair value gap. In my eyes, this is last opportunity to get on board. Anything higher than this, I'll consider that chasing price. So buying 2 inside of the fair value gap there, near equilibrium, and it's off to the races. So that's how I like to pyramid, get into my position, scale in. Anything breaching upper quadrant, I no longer look to pyramid. All right, and here I'm just showing you the entry. So as we're trading to this candlestick's high, again, this is a 30-second chart, so it's not going to be the exact entry because I'm using these as market orders. So as we're trading into that high volume imbalance here, move away, I'm going in, buying 2, and then I'm showing this entry here on the fair value gap. As we trade down into it, I'm buying 2 more there. Last opportunity to get long. And then here I'm showing my exit. How far above the buy side can we go? I'm looking for a nice round institutional number. 23,255 even is a nice round number. That's the first round number you get above the buy side. So that's my exit, and that is the high of day for your PM session. So that is the trade breakdown. Stop loss was underneath midpoint of this green candle. I don't want to see that get overlapped. Once I'm confident that the sell side and the damage is done down here, I can trust putting my stop loss in this region, and I'm not expecting a deeper retracement past that. All right, so that's it for this trade breakdown. Hopefully you found it insightful. Hopefully you learned something that you could possibly implement into your own trading. I am done for the month of July on my personal account. I will not be trading real money until August. I did have my very first 10K month. I've already had a 10K month if you include prop firm money, but as far as real funds, my own brokerage, I just had my first 10K month, so I'm content. I'm going to let that sink in, enjoy it, and call it a month here. So the rest of the trades you see on the YouTube channel, and for those in the Discord, the rest of the trades on live stream will be on paper for educational and teaching purposes. So, all right, so that's it for this trade breakdown. Hopefully you found it insightful. I hope you learned something that you could possibly implement in your own trading. I am done for the month of July on my personal account. As you can see here, I just had my first 10K month. So I'm going to let that kind of sink in a little bit and be content for the month. I've already had a 10K month if you include like Apex profits, but as far as on my personal account only, real money, real funds, this is my first 10K month. So I'm going to go ahead and cash out the rest of the trades in Discord, and the rest of the trades that you see that I post on my YouTube channel will be paper until August. So I am done on my personal account until August. I will not touch this until August. And here you can see the account balance, P&L, real account, connected, green button. A lot of people care about that stuff. And you can see all the business there. So go ahead and enjoy the withdrawal footage. Appreciate y'all for supporting the channel. We're almost at 20K subs. Jesus is good. Christ is good. And highly blessed, highly favored. Love you all. I'll see y'all when I see y'all. Peace.